If plans are put into place, I think a lot of times we just assume, that a principal or a vice principal is going to be the incident commander. But kind of the cool thing about the incident command system, we just need somebody to fill that position, right? So when we're talking about the multiple teams, like Chris was just talking about, we want to have some redundancy in there, because when something happens, somebody's going to be off at a meeting or on a vacation day or out sick or whatever it may be. So we just need to make sure that we cross-train a lot of folks in what the responsibilities are for that position, so somebody can stay, can fill that position. But again, when we train and we get around the drills and the tabletop exercises and all that kind of stuff, it's nice to have some different people within your staff fill that role in case that day comes when you feel that this is going to be the person that's going to be the incident commander, whether it's a gas leak or, a school violence event, so somebody can just fit in there. And again, that's kind of the nice thing about the incident command system. It's about positions, who's working for you, who do you work for, that span of control, all the stuff we talk about in the ICS trainings. But we just really, at the end of the day, need somebody to have some knowledge of what needs to be done and to fill that position.
I think one of the other challenges too that is very real. So my school district, the name of our school district is Adams 12 5-star schools. And the 5 represents the municipalities in our school district. So we have 5 municipalities and 2 counties in our school district. So I think that one of the even foundational pieces, even before you get into what Kevin was talking about, is making sure that if you have multiple agencies in your school district, that you're all speaking the same language, like Kevin said. So there are competing responses and competing programs out there. So you've heard of ALICE, you've heard of Run, Hide, Fight, you've heard of SRP, SRM. So if you have one agency that is, ALICE driven and another one that's SRP driven, there's the potential to run into conflict, especially if you bring officers from both of those agencies to support the school. So I think that even before you get into that crawling phase that Kevin was talking about, you just have to make sure that you have those communications with all these agencies and find out and make sure that they're all on the same page. Because again, if there's an active harmful event going on at one of your schools, it isn't just going to be that local law enforcement agency. It better be all those different neighboring agencies also. So if you haven't established what kind of program you're going to start with, that has the potential for disaster. So again, kind of in that crawl phase, making sure that everybody is using the same response, at least initially.
After almost every incident, when we debrief or talk about afterwards kind of what went right, what went wrong, and we are attempting to identify kind of the main areas where we need to improve, where there was utter failure, what successes there were, always kind of the top 3 of problems are consistently communication, right? That's where we fall apart every time. So how can we communicate effectively? And I think that, and we've touched on this a couple times, the plain language and the common terminology is paramount, so that we're not using codes or levels or this law enforcement agency is using a language that's different than the district, that's different than fire and EMS coming in, so that we all are on the same page with that. And then it really begins with our planning and practice. Okay, we have to establish our communications plans in advance. If we're trying to figure it out during the incident, it's already too late. Okay, we will have already failed. So there will be plenty of things that go wrong on that day, even with the best plans, but we can deal with those as they come up. If we've planned ahead and all of the other parts are working, then we can address the things that are just kind of coming up. So we really have to establish what our communication plan is, and that includes kind of our means and our methods of communication.